Hello, good night, and welcome to Sunday Night Live. Today is Sunday, March 8th, 2026, and I'm your host, Marc-Anthony Jackson, talent and client creator here at Guhuza, hosting solo and wishing Mark Bulish a wonderful weekend. Usually, we are both here breaking down what's happening in the labor market and what it means for recruiters, employers, and job seekers, and where things might be heading. So, tonight, it's just me, but we still have lots to get into, so let's get started. The biggest labor story this week came out of the US on Friday. Expectations for the jobs report were that the US would add about 59,000 jobs in February. Instead, the economy lost about 92,000 jobs. And those numbers are terrible. Even worse, when you take a look at last year, in February 2025, the US added about 151,000 jobs. The unemployment rate also ticked up from 4.3 to 4.4% month over month. Something interesting is that these losses were spread across different parts of the economy rather than in just one area. And to me, that kind of stands out more than ever. This does not look like an isolated problem. It looks like a hiring momentum slowing problem in general. At the same time, this does not look like the labor market is completely falling apart just yet. It's more like employers are getting more cautious. And we saw some of the pressure show up in the markets too. On Friday, the Dow fell 0.95%, the S&P 500 dropped 1.33%, the Nasdaq fell 1.59%. And this wasn't the jobs report wasn't the only cause for it, but the weak labor data clearly added to the concern. So the big question is simple. Are employers becoming more cautious about adding headcount right now? And on the Canadian side of things, we get our next job numbers coming on Friday, March 13th. So we'll be on the watch for that too. The next big story we have is about Block, led by Jack Dorsey. The company announced it would cut more than 4,000 jobs, which is nearly half of its workforce, as it moves towards more aggressively integrating AI across its business. Its shares also jumped 25% after hours with this news. And to me, this reflects a larger shift in the market. Companies are no longer just adding AI tools on top of existing teams. Some are now redesigning work around AI from the ground up. This is a very different conversation. The question is no longer whether AI is affecting hiring. The question is how quickly companies will start restructuring jobs around it. Another trend that stands out right now is while companies are cutting jobs, others are still struggling to find the right people. And the hardest people to find right now are often the ones with strong AI related skills. So that would be people like AI engineers, machine learning, automation architecture, data science, and applied AI. And the shortage is not just about technical knowledge. Companies want people who can actually use AI inside real business operations, people who can solve problems, improve workflows, and help the business get results. So the market is shifting. It's becoming less about hiring general software talent and more about hiring people who are specialized to use AI in practical ways. Another area worth watching is health tech. As parts of the traditional tech world continue to slow down, health tech looks like a space with real momentum. Health tech funding reached about $15.3 billion in 2025, up more than 26% year over year. That tells us that there's strong interest and strong investment in that space. So we also are seeing more overlap between healthcare and technology in areas such as healthcare systems technology, AI medical tools, data automation in clinical settings. There are big reasons this matters. One is long-term demand from an aging population, and the other is a continued push towards modernizing the healthcare system with better technology. So for recruiters, this may be one of your strongest areas to watch, especially if you understand healthcare and tech talent. Another shift happening right now is around geography. Hiring costs are increasingly shaped by geography, really and truly. It's not just job title. Some of the key patterns we're seeing pretty clear is that younger and faster growing regions tend to produce more applicants. Competition for talent in the southeast United States continues to rise. And even though remote work opened up more hiring options, location still matters when it comes to cost, retention, and then competition as well. So employers are becoming more strategic about where they're hiring, not just who they're hiring. On the other side of things, on the Canadian side, um, another thing worth noting is wage pressure. In British Columbia, minimum wage will rise from 17.85 to 18.25 an hour starting June 1st, 2026. That may sound like a simple update, but it matters. It reflects a broader labor cost pressure that employers are still dealing with across Canada. And for industries like hospitality, retail, and entry level service work, those increases may quickly add up. So labor cost pressure is still very real and it's not going anywhere anytime soon. At Guhuza, our focus continues to be on speeding up the hiring process. The model is simple. An employer can upload their job, push a button, and begin interviewing candidates right live there on the platform. The goal is to reduce long scheduling delays and connect employers and job seekers in real time. And the market, like this, especially like this, speed matters. Because when companies become more cautious, hiring can slow down very quickly. The employer that makes the moves first, right? Any employer that makes moves first in regards to interviews will be still first and have a major advantage over the rest. On the other side of things, community side, the Canada Job Expo recently took place last week, and Marc Belaiche did a presentation on job strategy and job search strategy and the whole Guhuza recruiting model in general. It was a packed room, and there was a lot of great conversations with job seekers about how the hiring process has changed. Also, I wanted to make a quick mention that every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern, I host an open Zoom networking call. Anyone can join, where we talk about jobs, recruiting trends, career advice, the labor market. And later this month, Guhuza will be attending staffing conferences in Austin and San Antonio. So if you're there or in the area attending those conferences, please feel free to reach out to Marc Belaiche. Thanks for joining us for this Sunday Night Live. If you're getting value from these discussions, be sure to subscribe, comment, share. You can find us across social media on Facebook, X, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, and more. So I'm Marc-Anthony Jackson, and I will see you next Sunday night. And hopefully we'll have Marc Belaiche joining us again. And be sure to check out our LinkedIn page if you want to join me for that Thursday 2 o'clock networking call. Have a great week, guys. And yeah, I'm Marc-Anthony Jackson, signing out.